in the go live option, so I'm assuming we're now we are actually live. So yeah, I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, but like that's the reason why we're late is because our bumper thingy's not working, and I was gonna try to fix it before we started, and like Hunter has to go later, so we don't have time.
We've had a hell of a morning.
I know, it was
like you got a curl stuck, and we spent maybe an hour trying to get this one curl out.
Yeah, we like. I don't want to talk about it, but we had to cut my hair, a piece of my hair out this morning because it was caught around an unmovable, an unmovable force?
An unmovable object.
Yeah, or whatever.
And the unstoppable force with my scissors.
And so...
And I won.
Yeah, Hunter and the scissors won. We couldn't get it out. And I was like, I wish my mom was here, and she wasn't here, so we just had to cut it off.
And then
it was like one of these baby hairs though, so yeah. I think it'll be fine. I don't think anyone will notice. It was like very minimal, but it still made me a little sad. So there's that.
And then
Can you guys see us? Are we good?
Yeah.
By the way.
And then with Crunchyroll, they still don't have the subtitles up for RWBY. Meaning that we had to, once again, well, I didn't, you did.
Yeah, I transcribed the whole episode. Oh, Thank you.
It's a real time sink.
And so that was annoying. Again, see, I can tell that there was an attempt to fix it, right? Like, they tried to fix it because, and I said this in our reaction, too.
They labeled the
English audio as Japanese. And I think the reason why they did that was because they were trying to trick their code, like the website code, into properly you guys understand what I'm saying, like into properly using the subtitles, you know what I mean? And so I think that that's what they did. Like I think that they did that to try to convince the English audio that subtitles were necessary, if that makes any sense.
The glitch
and
is very
didn't
annoying.
Work. So, I don't know what's going on with their back end that these subtitles are, like, not, like, cooperating.
It is very not good for accessibility.
But it's not good. But, yeah, I can see that they tried to fix it. Because they tried, right, to label the audio. Because if you have Japanese audio, there will be English subtitles for, like, Attack on Titan or whatever you're watching. So, I think that they tried to fix it, and it just didn't work. So, you know, I was just sitting here transcribing the entire episode by hand. If anybody at Rooster Teeth is out there and, you know, would like to send us the script for the episode so we don't need to do that, that would be great. I don't know if they could ever give anything like that to us. Like, you know what I mean? But it would kind of be nice, right? Or something, just something to have so we don't need to do it. Because they did, I mean, they released part of the script on Twitter, obviously. But I'm like, what is stopping? I mean, technically, there's probably a couple things, but like, you know, if Jeff Yetter saw us right now struggling, is there anything stopping him from sending us the script? So at least we know what people are saying and can transcribe it for ourselves. Because, like, there's a lot of, like, Weiss talking in the background this episode, but there's no subtitles. Whereas in a show, you know, it's kind of hard, especially because, like, neither of us are hard of hearing, but, like, a lot of people with ADHD are mistaken in their childhood for being hard of hearing because they have audio processing issue, right? And so I have audio processing issue. Like, Weiss said something in this episode. She said, it's about time to RWBY. And Hunter was like, what did she say? And I was like, I'm sorry, because RWBY said for what? So I just filled it. I was just guessing, and it was not correct in any capacity. But anyway, you guys can see us. You guys can hear us. I hope the quality's good. But before...
I wanted to drink water. I saw you drinking water, and I was like, that's so cool. I want to drink water, too.
Oh, my God. So before we start this episode, guys, I have a confession to make, okay? Something that's been weighing on me, you know, for a while over here. Something that's been weighing on me for a while, okay? I think that you guys need to know this. In our past videos, I have said that Yang is my least favorite member of Team RWBY, and it was not by a small margin. It was like multiple letters of the alphabet apart. But today, I feel like I need to come out and say that I am not a Yang hater. I am a Yang appreciator, and all of the Yang hatred that I have ever had was wrong, and possibly just because I was in love with her. Like when you're in elementary school and you pick on someone because you like them. I think that maybe there was a misguided, I don't know, misguided by the RWBY hiatus, because I love Yang this episode and no one can stop me from loving Yang.
This episode.
So yeah, I love Yang this episode. Oh man, you guys are like, what is going on? I'm just watching the chat. Yang redemption or Calxiyn redemption.
I mean, all the characters they're writing for them, they're just so lovable, and it's so
I know,
funny.
it's so endearing, and so I was just like, why was I mad at Yang? For what reason? I don't know.
Yeah, I
saw her this episode, and she was so cute and happy and like feisty, and I was like, I was never one of those people that said Yang wasn't fun anymore. But I feel like I was almost
one of
getting
those people
there.
that said Yang is never fun, has never been fun.
Like, no. But, like, I was never one of those people that said, like, oh, since Yang lost her arm, she's not fun anymore. But, like, I don't know. I was, like, kind of maybe that, like, diet, like, 50% that. Not that she wasn't fun anymore, but that I didn't like her as much. But I was wrong, okay? I was wrong. I admit it. I was wrong. Oh, man. I think you said before you don't just like canon Yang, you just like fandom Yang. Yeah, and so now that, like, canon Yang, I think, has re-entered the atmosphere, we're back.
She's always been around.
I don't know, now that she's back. But, like, during the hiatus, I guess.
So.
Right? I don't know, and so...
Because all you've been seeing of her is, like, fanfiction.
Yeah, and maybe that was it, right?
Okay.
Like,
that makes a certain amount of sense.
And so now seeing her, and, like, she's cute and like she's feisty, but she's also serious. I don't know. I think it's nice. I like it. I like her. Okay, so yeah, I just thought I should mention that. Someone clip this and post it on Twitter. I'm sure somebody will. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, and so yeah, I just thought all the character moments were so endearing this episode, and I'm really excited to talk about everything. This is the
funniest RWBY has been in a while, it feels.
Yeah, and maybe that's why.
I mean, it's always been funny. But it's
Yang
really
felt overrated for about 3 years. That's what I'm saying. Yes, that is what it is. Is that she felt overrated. Not that she wasn't fun anymore.
Volume 7 and 8?
Yeah, or something. And so now she's not overrated. She deserves everything that they tell her, that people say she is. That's what I think. And so I like this. So are we just gonna stand around thinking about this in silence? And so I really like how the episode started. I thought that was cute. Also, where's Little? I guess just chilling.
Hiding in there, chilling.
And so, yeah,
yep,
I like how when RWBY says that it's impossible, Little starts nodding to agree with her, even though Little knows that they live in the ever after. So, like, I think Little's just very susceptible.
I think it's like, Little seems to know what's up. So part of me thinks that Little is like, no, we're not in a storybook. A storybook takes place where we're at.
Yeah,
like, we come first.
But, like, they nod, so that was, I don't know.
Also, oh my god, Little is like the MVP of this episode.
I love the sense of humor, like, in these episodes, too. Like, it feels like such, like, nostalgic back to Volume 1.
Like, Weiss and Yang have the same, like, frown there. That's so wonderful.
I just love it. I just love everything. I'm so happy. Weiss says, what we've seen is improbable, but that doesn't mean we're in an actual fairy tale. Are we seriously entertaining this? And so I thought that that's interesting, that Weiss, and I have a theory about Weiss, and we'll talk more about that later. I love Weiss desperately trying to cling to logic. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that later, but, like, I think that with Weiss, I know it's probably her logic, but I also think it's because, like, she doesn't want to be in a fairy tale because she doesn't think that she's the hero the fairy tale needs. Because she talks about later how she couldn't save Atlas. So I think that she doesn't want to let another world down. You know what I mean? Like, so
a much sillier, goofier world.
I think that she's, as much as she's trying to cling on to logic and reasoning and, like, all of that or whatever, like, as much as she's trying to cling on to those things, I also think that it's because admitting the fact that they're in a fairy tale means that she needs to uphold, I guess, the set of morals that she talks about later on. Like, she talks about, fairy tales used to have such simplistic morals back then, right? And so is she afraid that she cannot uphold what it means to be a hero after she failed, right? But yeah, I like this conversation between them. I don't know, I think that, like, Yang's not being, like, confrontational as much as she's just like, okay, well, do you have a better idea? Like, she's genuinely wondering, right? And I like Weiss's little explanation. And I like the made friends with the tiny mouse, and then Little's like, friends! And you see Ruby smile. See, I think that there's another scene that I think displays this later when it's Penny in the jar, right? And then it moves over to Little in the jar. Like, I feel like Little is representative of, like, the hope that Ruby lost. Right? And in a sense, I think all the characters are kind of going to be that way.
Or the people she wants to defend, maybe even.
Yeah, but like we talked about Little being like her innocence.
Sure.
Almost. Yeah. Or like some sort of representation of her innocence and her hope and her joy. Right? And so I think that Little being in the glass and then the jade marionette also being in the jar, like the jar of hope. It's like Little is here to have her like hang on and not be depressed, right? Ruby depression level. Yeah, exactly. And so Little's kind of like the hope. Also, if we don't see your messages, guys, please don't take it personally. There are a lot of you. We'll read any super chats that come in just because those are bright and shiny and they're easier for us to see. But we have a lot of stuff covering the screen right now because we have the transcript in the way. But yeah, I love just how it pans to all their different facial expressions. I just thought this episode was so funny. Like, genuinely funny. Like, it was just joyful. It made me feel happy. And so I love this. And your arm got stolen by a talking raccoon riding on a purple wagon filled with trash. Also, if you guys think that something's spelled wrong, don't worry about it. A Little doesn't have a purpose either. Exactly. So it's kind of like a representation of Ruby, like purposeless or feels purposeless. Like, some people think that maybe it's also like Penny, but I think that, like, Penny and like Ruby are almost the same. Does that make sense in this instance? Like the hope. But yeah. And so I like this scene a lot with Weiss. And I like how she just walks away. They made her so funny, and I caught some of her dialogue. She's like, okay, I'm going to go over here and think about this. And so she says, of course it's driving a little trash wagon. Why not? It probably has a little driving wheel, too. And you see her do a little... Wheel. So yeah, that helped with us trying to, like, gather what it was about.
I love Weiss so much. She has her little moments of being super stressed out.
But yeah, this was, like, it was super emotional. And I really like... You know what I realized? Blake does take the leadership role in Volume 2. Yeah. I forgot about that when she's like, and we may never be ready. And so I'm glad that there's a callback.
I also like
to that
well. Weiss has been goofy in the past, like when she's like, tell us, Blake, what's the matter? And she's on top, she's pointing on top, balancing on the chair.
Let Weiss be goofy. Yeah. I like it. It makes me happy.
They're making her goofy.
Yeah, and I just like how everyone is written this episode. I don't have a single complaint. Other than, I guess, we didn't get to see what's going on with Neo. But, like, I have no complaints ever. Like, last episode, there were a couple things where I was like, I'm not sure. But this episode, no notes. Perfect.
No notes.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so, I think this is when Ruby says... Ruby says, as crazy as it sounds, something about this is familiar. And then Blake's the one who says, the girl who fell through the world. I think we're in the ever after. And so I like this, too, because, like, Ruby likes fairy tales. But she's almost too emotionally constipated right now to think clearly.
She's a little messed up.
Yeah, she's a little messed up. But, like, Blake also, like, that's what they first bonded over, was the fact that Blake read books, and Ruby said, I like to read, too. So I love this. And, like, Blake, okay, they did, like, dirty in Volume 8 and 7. I'll say it again. They did her so dirty. They abandoned her. And so I'm so glad that she's taking a leadership role. And someone made a very good point about this that I think we talked about last week. But the reason why I think Blake is so happy is because she already thought she lost everything. And she didn't. Yeah. Right? She already thought that she lost Yang and all of her teammates. She already faced her worst nightmare. And now...
But she's on the other side of her worst nightmare. And she's all right.
Exactly. RWBY critics saying Weiss is acting out of character. Are they saying that?
No, Weiss has always been goofy.
She's always been a little goofy.
She just hasn't been able to be goofy the past little while because she's been like in a bunch of very stressful situations.
I think Weiss was also... I love Weiss standing on the chair and pointing at Blake like it's a fucking Inquisition. Oh, and then in Volume 2, you have that thing where, like, isn't Weiss the one who doesn't know how to play the board game? And then they shuffle all the cards and then she's like,
Hug me, wife,
she
don't
goes
touch me.
Machiavellian first,
yes.
and then Yang beats her and she starts to cry. Like,
Yes.
Weiss was always like
She
that.
does like do goo goo face with
with Adrian too, like the baby,
and Adrian,
right?
yeah.
I think she does.
Weiss has always been goofy. It's just that she's never been allowed to be goofy.
Calxiyn, they abandoned my boy. Are we talking about who? Who's the
John?
They abandoned my boy.
John?
I don't know. Weiss has also always been a stubborn dork. Exactly. She's always been a little over dramatic, which is funny because she's so dramatic, but she's like, it's not a fairy tale. Like, you know what I mean? Oh,
Also,
man.
I'm noticing something here that if we go from like acre to acre, then the next one is the mushroom acre, which we see in the lot of in the OP. So it's almost like you can kind of guess where we're going.
Yeah,
and
the
then
question
after
is
that,
like,
maybe the
this
mountains.
is a very straight hexagon to the tree.
Yes.
But are we ever going to go over here?
I don't know.
Or over here? And we'll talk.
To be honest with you, those places look less interesting.
Well, we'll talk about this later, but it's like, if they're following in Alex's footsteps, the question becomes, like, let's take Jean out of the equation right now because people think that he's been taken in by the story and that he's the knight.
By people, you mean you.
And other people, other people think he's the knight. I'm pretty sure everyone thinks he's the knight.
Except for me.
Except for you.
I'm
you
stubborn.
don't?
I'm stubborn.
Okay.
I don't want him to be.
Anyway, so my point is, the question becomes, did Neo also have to follow Alex's fairy tale, and is she therefore ahead of them in the narrative? Or is she prescribed to follow the story of Alex's companion that we see in the book thingy, right? And so, yeah, the place isn't just Wonderland. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like the 100-acre wood. Exactly, right? And so I definitely do think that that's the case. And so in terms of that, I wonder, like, if they have to follow Alex's story, the question becomes, does Neo follow Alex's story, or is she following Alex's friend's story?
That could be fair.
Because, like, there is something that Little does say in this section, and I thought that may have been interesting, because that's my question. Is Neo on the same path as them, or is she on a different path? Like, is she ahead of them on the same path, behind them on the same path, or on a completely different path in general? Because, yeah, like, it's, because if Jean is the knight, that takes care of Jean, but we know that Neo is still in person form at the moment, so, like, what's she doing? What's she doing?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? The girl who fell through the world. Okay, yeah, so they're just talking about, it's make-believe. It's just part of a story we all read when we were kids. And so then Little says, it's not make-believe, it's where I live. And I kind of like that rhyme. It's a kind of a loose one, but, you know, we'll take it. And
also, God, I love Lil so much. They're so cute. I just want to pick them up and I want to give them a little smooch on their belly. They're perfect. If Rooster Teeth have any mind at all, they'll make all the Little merch in the entire world. Little is who's why I wish they were. Little's so great.
Yes, Little calls the
Little
quadrants
stan.
acres. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, I do have a theory about that later, that it's not just Wonderland, and we'll talk about that after. But yeah, and so Blake says, have you ever heard of the name Alex? And so Little says, and Alex, is that a purpose? So Little could just be too young to know who Alex is, because it seems like something else that Blake says later, which I feel like was important foreshadowing, was the fact that the raccoon is older than she remembers in terms of when she read the storybook. So that means that maybe time did pass in Wonderland between them being here and Alex being here. And so the Virgin and Remnant is Alex's story when Alex fell here. And that means that the raccoon guy, like Jinxy, was a little bit younger, right? But now he's older because time has naturally progressed and Little was not around when Alex was around, basically, right? In the story, Alex fell from the sky, met with the hunter mice, got trapped in vines, fought a Jabberwocker, and got her knife stolen by a talking raccoon. And so, yeah, like, that's basically all of the things that they have done so far in this quadrant, right? And Weiss has, like, and then she beat the Red King in a board game, met the Curious Cat, the Rusted Knight, and finally got out. So the Rusted Knight is part of the story. So that'll be interesting to see if it is really Jean. Oh, man. Yeah, these bitches age? Yeah, I guess they do age. It's Penny's sword, guys. It's Penny's sword. But yeah, and so, let's see. Yes, so the board game, the cat, the knight, and then she finally got out. But, like, is it really gonna be that easy? I don't know, right? Like, I don't know if it's gonna be that easy, right? And so it'll be interesting to see what paths, or if there are other paths, right? If maybe they're all representing a different character. But
Perhaps.
the weird thing is that it's Yang's arm that's stolen, and it was Alex's knife that was stolen. And so in that case, because Yang fell first,
Dagger,
is Yang supposed to be Alex?
Or
Or does the world see all four of them as one big Alex? Like,
maybe.
you're a unit of Alex, if that makes sense, right? Like, as opposed to seeing them as, like, the companion. Like, how does the world register them? As Alex or as not Alex? Like, it's interesting. But then Blake and Weiss are the ones that get caught by the vines. So they're all on Alex's path together as a unit. They are all Q. Do you guys know what Q is? Like, what's from Star Trek?
Oh.
Like the Q?
Yeah,
or
the
like
robot.
Q, not the robot.
Q
was like, oh
no,
god.
Data. I'm thinking of Data.
No, that's Data. Q was like these beings that sort of like watched humanity, and they were sort of outside of it all, like the Q.
Yes.
You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think
this
that
is
it
the
seems like
first
they're all
time
Alex.
you've ever made a Star Trek reference.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
so proud of you.
Oh, okay.
You're expanding your horizons.
Anyway, it's because we were talking about it in the context of class a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it seems like that they're all one Alex unit. But yeah.
One unit of Alex.
Yeah, exactly. So do we go to the tree, look for Alex, Yang's arm? I don't think Ruby's gonna find Crescent Rose. We'll talk about that in the bingo card video. But yeah, and so they call him the Jinxy Peddler. That's his name. And so Weiss like freaks out at it. 'Cause
You
like,
know.
you gotta calm down. You gotta calm down, Weiss. But yeah, that's the raccoon,
Little is just so
obviously.
frightened, and then Weiss is back to just being grumpy in the
some
corner.
people in the chat don't think that they're all Alex, but there's a set path for anyone who falls in a Wonderland. But then the question, if that's true, where is Neo on the path?
Where's Jean on the path?
Or did Neo just do the path better? I get, like, you know what I mean? Well, they did the circular walking thing is because they tried to get to the tree specifically. It seems like if Wonderland knows you're trying to go for the tree, they, like, cock block you. That's basically why. I think that, yeah, like, it's not Weiss's path versus Ruby's path. It's, like, because they were going specifically for the tree that it, like, tried to fuck with them, I think, is supposed to be what's going on there. But anyway, yeah, I love this. Weiss says, I can't believe this stupid world, this stupid tree, and I couldn't really catch like anything else what she was saying. Is that what happened there? Or there was another one where she starts talking, as well. I don't know. I think that she had a different one where she was like, of course, like, or so. Oh no, but that was before. Yeah, so this is like, oh, I can't believe the stupid world and the stupid tree. And so Little says that they'll lead the way right too, and I love this cut to the scene change of
It's
their
such a
snoring.
snoozy little baby. I love Little so much. I love Little. I wanna get a mouse. Cal, I wanna get a mouse. I want my own Little.
Get a mouse.
Look at how cute.
Oh boy.
I want Little.
And so yeah, I like this. I like Weiss just being annoyed. But I like Blake's like explanation about like the town and the customs. Alex didn't know their customs and ended up starting a war amongst the townsfolk. Trouble followed her everywhere she went. And then Yang has this line of dialogue which just fucking killed me, which is, but she was kind of a mean person, right? She lied and cheated her way through most of the book. And so I'm like, yeah, Yang, you say that, and then a couple scenes later, you're like, okay, can we do a violence? Like, can I commit assault? Oh, man.
Yang won't lie or steal, but she'll always commit a violence.
I know, but that's
She's
what I'm saying,
always
so I
raring for a
wonder if
violence.
that's kind of the point of the volume, and I also, like, listen, I'm not trying to be that bitch, but I have to point out, I wonder how that'll relate with their, like, their relationship to Neo, if that makes sense, because they think Neo's a bad person, right? But if they do bad things, are they also not bad? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like there could be a meta-contextual thing here of like, oh, but Neo, like, lied and cheated her way all the way with Roman, and then she was just trying to survive. Like, that feels very pointed, especially because those are the words Roman used, right? I'll lie, cheat, steal, and survive. So I'm like, not to be that person, but like...
And you are that person.
Right? Like, it kind of is making me think, like, is that the point of this? That, like, Alex is mean, but you're only mean when you're not the protagonist.
But is it also developing the character of Alex for when we meet her?
I think it's both, though. It's because, like, they think Alex is mean, but Alex was just doing what she had to do, right? And so if they do what they have to do, are they any better? Like, they're judging her, but they haven't gone through her story yet.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, like, says the girl who committed several acts of arson. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, Blake definitely did, but...
And so that's what I'm saying.
Is it arson when you light your own house on fire? I don't know.
Yeah, not to be that person, but I will be that person. Because, like, you could apply that to kind of like Neo, in a way. But they make a judgment about Neo based off of what she's done, but then they have to go do the same things that Neo did, and now they can't judge her that badly anymore. I don't know. Or, like, going through someone's story is different than just reading it and being able to judge from the outside. Yes. And maybe somehow Roman Holiday will play into that. Like, if they see Neo's story, depending on the Shadow People situation. But anyway, that's copium. That's some copium. But yeah. And so the town's just up ahead. And so they talk about that. Oh yeah, so this is Yang saying that she's a mean person, I think. Oh yeah, she was just trying to survive. That's where we are in terms of the captioning, guys. Yeah, so the town's just up ahead. The Jinxy Peddler always stops by our village before he goes to town. So that foreshadows the fact, like, the mouse with the cheese that got turned into the sparkly diamond-encrusted mouse, right? Because Little says that the Jinxy Peddler already stopped by his town. And we see the Jinxy Peddler literally took one of them. But what's weird, and we'll talk about this later, but the mice in that scene seems to be just as surprised. So were they kind of like frozen when they were transformed in that object? Because they look pretty surprised that they're there. Does that make sense? So it's about how, like, Jinxie's powers work or whatever. Like, I just thought that was interesting. That he stole a mouse with the cheese in his hand, right? Do they steal stuff from you guys too? Steal never. They just take things we're not looking at, right? So they just took one of them. Oh, it's so funny. Fair is fair. See, so that's the other thing too I like about Wonderland, and kind of like something we talked about the end game of Neo saying here as well. Like, you know, they just take things we're not looking at. Fair is fair.
It's a very chaotic
loose
place.
sense of what's right and what's wrong. If you're not looking at it, somebody else can take it. Fair is fair. Like, maybe that's Little, right? Because Little's young and doesn't really know, but I have a feeling that everyone's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Little also has loose morals, because Little steals later, right? So it's kind of funny. It's kind of interesting, right? And so, yeah, I guess the Jinxy Peddler is the purpose to peddle Jinxily. You know what I mean? Because somebody said in the chat, is that a name or is that a purpose? Right? I guess it is a purpose.
Yeah, because like a jinx is like, isn't like a jinx like...
It's like a hex? Not a curse,
or like a magical trick?
Kind of like a prank. Yeah. I would say it's a magic
and
prank.
They peddle pranks, so that makes sense. You know, what if Little at the end wants to be called Friend?
Oh, I think that'd be cute.
Because Little is a friend, so they're friends.
Oh, I like that. And yeah, so then Weiss says sounds like a legitimate business person, which somebody has accurately pointed out in the chat was Jacques Schnee. What's the opposite of slander when something's true? Jacques Schnee facts.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? What's the opposite
slander.
of slander? It's not slander if it's true. Jacques Schnee, accurate depiction.
The accurate description of what Jacques Schnee is like as a human being.
Exactly. So I thought that was kind of funny. And yeah, I love this scene with Yang. And I love how, like, all of the stars are in Team RWBY colors. I thought that was great.
I love the art style. I wonder who did that or how...
Yeah, I love, like, the menacing shadow. Like, it kind of looks like he has horns, right? He's a little demon. He's like... Meh, meh, meh. And I love that. And I love it. Like, Yang opens her eyes. And
he really just looks very, very evil.
And he's not. And I love that. I just thought that this was so cute. I love... Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god, it's so funny.
That almost feels like, it reminds me a lot of the, before we get to the gay, that almost reminds me of a lot of the facial expressions you see in, like, in One Piece.
Right, yeah.
It's like there's that very anime, like, ah! Like, Usopp would make that face.
They put their Chrissy into this, I'm telling
Our
you.
whole Chrissy
They put
into
their
it.
whole Chrissy into this, right? There's so many little animation moments and little gags and, like, little tee-hee.
So wonderful.
And I'm just like, there's so many little tee-hee. Makes me happy, right? And so, let's talk about the game. So Blake says, so when you say he caught you unarmed, and then she says how disarming in a very flirtatious way. She's like, how disarming. Like, that's exactly how she says it. And then she says, I guess I'll have to catch, I think, something. Like, she's just making a bunch of puns.
And they brush their hands, and I just wanted them to hold hands. I want that hot, erotic hand-holding action. I want that ultimate,
yeah, so I love that scene. I just thought that, like, because people say that Blake and Yang have no chemistry. You're wrong. That was so cute and funny. And, like, that's, like, every good relationship. I remember in Shakespeare, they told us that, like, wit is foreplay. Like, wit is not just to be funny or anything.
It's because you want to get laid?
Wit in of itself in a Shakespeare play is foreplay.
Oh.
Yes.
Specific, okay.
And I think that's true for real life. I think.
Okay.
I believe. I am a believer.
I make you laugh a lot the whole time you're sitting there thinking like, wow,
not like
Hunter
that.
really needs to stop
like
coming on to me.
With each other. It's like flirt with each other.
I don't know if I totally understand that, but otherwise.
I'll look something up and read it afterward.
Okay. And now what does Weiss say to this? Because Weiss says
about time, which is the line that we
didn't know what she said. Which I guess in that sense is like, yeah, about time they finally started flirting.
Yeah, exactly. And so Ruby's like, for what? And then Weiss says nothing. And so Ruby says, don't worry, we'll find our way out of here and then we'll go back home. And then Weiss kind of like trails a little bit behind, right? And so I thought that this scene was interesting. I wonder if I can find this. Okay. Yes, I think this is it. Okay. So this is the scene that we were talking about, I think. And so, this is from, can we read this? This is public domain, right? It's fucking
Shakespeare's public domain.
We can read it, right? Okay.
I bet you when they logged onto this RWBY stream, they didn't think they would get Shakespeare.
They probably did not. They did not. Okay. I can't read, so we'll just keep going, and then before the scene change, we'll cover it. Oh, man. Okay. So, it's all gone. There's nothing left for me to go back to, just like Beacon. So that's what Weiss says. And I think the shots here are really interesting because you have like the back of Weiss's head, and then you also have like Ruby's, one of her eyes is covered. And I thought that was very intentional. Like, I know she's looking down, but I feel like that's like Ruby's half lying, you know?
Yes.
Almost, or she's not telling the truth because Weiss says you did the best you could for Atlas, Weiss. And I'm not saying she's lying like she doesn't think Weiss did her best, but like she feels more sad about it. Like she's trying to be encouraging, but it's almost like deceptive, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean though, Hunter, right?
No, I got you.
It's not that like...
It's like they tried it, it's like it's almost like it's more effective if you can imagine what their face might look like.
Yeah.
And then just see them, like, because you see them crying, it's like, oh, they're just crying. But when they're hiding their face, it's like, oh, it's almost because you don't see it, you can imagine it is so much worse than it is. And it kind of increases the impactfulness of the...
Yeah, Ruby eye loss foreshadowing? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. But...
I mean, I think about that too. But yeah, the fact that they're not making eye contact solidifies that Ruby doesn't believe in her whole, in all of her words. Like, in her whole words. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what her own words. That's kind of what I'm feeling too. That's how I also see it. But yeah, I love the emphasis on the sword. Like, we can't see Weiss's face. But yeah, I think that's it too. It's like Ruby doesn't want to look Weiss in the eye because she's also not convinced at what she's saying, right? But it wasn't enough. We hatched a crazy plan that put a whole kingdom at risk, and we don't even know if we saved the relics from... Maybe Winter and John were able to get them out despite everything. And so, I don't know if this had any symbolism to it, the fact that the birds were flying, but it reminded me of that scene where Winter is flying ahead and Jean is trying to run behind her and, like, can't catch up. Obviously, there's 3 birds there, so I don't know what that would be about. But, like, when I saw that, I thought of that scene because they say, oh, maybe Winter and Jean got out, but Winter did, but Jean didn't. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's not that serious, but, like, it's supposed to be that Winter got out, but, like, Weiss and Jean, like, one bird is Weiss, one bird is Jean, and they fell behind.
I guess so.
I don't know. And so...
Well, Weiss was the last person down, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jean and Weiss.
Despite everything, despite us, see? So, I think that Weiss kind of thinks that they're not strong enough, in a way. And then Weiss says, I know that Penny, and I feel like it was gonna be like, Penny meant a lot to you, but then she says, I know that was a lot to hear. And then we just hear... Like, RWBY does not acknowledge his rain noises, mysterious rain noises. And then we get to the next scene. Hopefully, hello. How many screenshots did I take of this? Uh-oh. Guys.
You took all the screenshots.
I did. Hold on. It may just be stuck. I think that there's some sort
happens.
of, like, limit. That. Like, it's like, okay, you can do a slideshow of this many photos. If you're doing any more, like, what are you actually trying to do?
We're suspicious of you if you try to pull any more.
Yeah, basically. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Isn't this the end of the... No, it's not. Right, not. Yes, okay.
We're good. Yes. So, okay, just random, like, for the Shakespeare thing, okay? Just random, like, just to get with our, point. Like, there's a scene that we did in class, and it was like, did I not dance with you at Brabant once? Did not I dance with you in Brabant once? I know you did. How needless was it then to ask the question? Like, that's the sort of, you must not be so quick. I think... oh yeah, okay. You must not be so quick. 'Tis long of you that spur me with such questions, right? So it's sort of like, okay, well, you're the one asking a stupid question even though you know the answer. Your wit's too hot. It speeds too fast. It will tire. Not till it leaves the rider in the mire. And so, like, they're basically flirting back and forth. Like, he's like, your tongue's too hot. Your wit's too hot. Like, you'll burn out. Kind of like a sex joke, like you'll finish too quickly. Oh. And so she's saying, not till it leaves the rider in the mire, right? And so she's saying...
And she would be the rider.
She would be the rider, yeah, exactly. What time of day is it? The hour that fools should ask. And so she's saying it to him. Now fair befall your mask. So it's saying that she's not a pretty like she's not fair. She's kind of mean. And so that's Shakespeare flirting, right? It's not gibberish. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very witty back and forth. So, like, that's what I wanted to go over.
Something I just noticed here, that, like, half of the bridge is more representative of the place they're exiting, the jungle. Yeah. And the other half is more representative.
It's like
representative of the place we're entering.
Hexagon. Yes. And I really, really like that. But yeah, no more Shakespeare for today. Sorry, chat. But, like, that's
the vibe you're getting from them?
Like the witty vibe.
You can't wait for that. I'm sure they're just waiting for them to, like, I don't know, get the tent together.
I mean, obviously, with Blake and Yang, it was just puns. But that's what I mean by, like, wit's kind of hot. Like, oh, you shouldn't be so quick, you'll tire. Like, I think that's, I don't know, I think that it is.
This is what you and Arnold do in your spare time?
Oh my god, that's how I write my Fox and Neo fanfiction, but you already knew about that.
I do already know about that.
Oh, man. Okay, so, Blake says, so this is the entrance to the other acre, you call it, which is giving Winnie the Pooh, you know, so I love that. And that was my theory, right? I talked about how in Kingdom Hearts, Sora goes into Winnie the Pooh and takes the place of Christopher Robin.
Sure,
so it's all making sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay. And then Little finally wakes up. Yep, all we do is cross the bridge and we'll be over wherever there is. And so then Yang is like, you don't know? And Little says, nope, I've never been this far from home.
Look at how cute. I love how, like, his neck is just long enough and his cute face and his little hands up like here.
And I like how RWBY says, like, maybe you should go back because maybe I'm reading too much into it, but do you kind of feel, Hunter, she's saying that because she's afraid that they won't be able to protect it, like, Little along the way? Like, if you've never been gone from home before, like, maybe you should just go home because we can't protect shit we can't even protect our own arms out here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. But yeah, and so then he says, nope, I wouldn't have any idea how to go back. Maybe I'll just live by the bridge. I wonder why they're all so, like, this is a very extreme reaction.
Maybe they're worried that, like, they've just marooned this poor innocent baby boy. I also love
away from their home.
This is like a Renaissance painting.
I know.
Like, look at how beautiful this is.
Like, they brought this creature here, and now it's like their fault.
Like Ruby's having looking at her hands and questioning things she's done.
Yeah, because she did this.
Like she's had like 1,000-yard stare, like she's in Nom. Then you have Yang, which is just like really like, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then you have Blake, which
she just kidnapped a kid, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then there's Blake, who's just like, oh no, my poor baby. We can't leave my poor baby here. We need to adopt this child. And then Weiss is just the reasonable person. Like, that's idiot. Why would you say something? Why would you come with us?
Yeah,
I love it so much. I want it as like my desktop background.
Are you guys okay? Can you guys still see us? Because YouTube says that there's not enough video to get to the stream. Did you guys hear what Hunter said? But yeah, they accidentally kidnapped a kid and like, you know, they're concerned about it. So I thought that this scene was great. I hope that you guys heard what we said because YouTube didn't seem to
And Yang
think that
pushes in and demands.
Well, Weiss is the one who pushes, yeah. And so Weiss is like, I'll handle it, and I love this. Building a house, my very first house. Gonna find my purpose in my best house. And that's exactly how it went.
But also, this is some shit house building.
I wonder if the voice actor, like, did that melody on their own, right? Like, or, like, how much direction they were
I don't understand. I like that. I like that Little has food, but I don't understand how Little thinks that having rocks on top of the sticks was a good idea.
They're also worried because Little led them somewhere he knew nothing about personally. Yeah, I guess that also makes sense. I think it's kind of both. But yeah, Little puts the rocks on top.
Which is just terrible construction. Like, this little idiot knows nothing.
You wonder if...
Oh, look at Blake in the background.
You wonder if they're doing it on purpose. Because look at this face. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, oh, why say that? Like, oh, do you want to come with us?
Little
but, like,
secretly
don't
evil.
you wonder if maybe this was on purpose? I don't know. Like, it's given something. And I don't know what yet. You know what I'm saying? Scene change. Okay. Yeah, so we have some interesting stuff going on in this shot. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's cribbage. Baby and nursery store. So I guess that could be like rockabye baby on the treetop situation, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have just the birthday party messages are around here. And then you also have, there's some other signs, but yeah, so this is the royal decree. Birthday party of his most royal is hereby announced. Yeah, so obviously we have the Queen of Hearts situation, so maybe they gender bent them to be the king.
I also like how there's a little carrot.
There's a carrot in a hot dog.
That's peculiar.
There's some flowers over here, and there.
I also like that.
Also says at the beginning, like, cheap, get your cheap, but I didn't hear like what they were saying. Just character.
I feel like this is like a really good alternative to the shadow people, just having little weird like.
Yeah, this
dolls
one's patty
walking
cakes.
Around.
This is tic-tac-toe shoe store or something. So I just like all the little dominoes flooring, like little nursery rhymes and like all that sort of stuff. And so just act like you belong. The Little says, I always wanted to be long, but I'm still. And so like Yang smiles and like Blake smiles and Weiss also smiles a little bit, but Ruby's just like, man. She's not.
Them walking, them being the only humans in this crowd is how I feel whenever I like.
They're all games.
Walk in public.
Cribbage is a card game. Yes. Oh, I see. I didn't know that. So maybe cribbage. It's not but nursery it's also rhymes per se.
Yeah, dominoes. That makes sense. Patty cake.
But what about the other one? Oh, patty cake is a game. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's all games. It's all about the games.
I also like the architecture here. It's kind of wonky how everything. It kind of reminds me of Inception, how like the city folds in on each other, and how it comes at weird angles.
So I'm not gonna be that person, but
are you gonna think that shrub is Neo?
No. Remember these trees? Just remember them for later. These barren-looking trees. No, it's not Neo.
Okay.
No,
I can
there's
never
another.
trust
There's
you.
a different reason.
I can
we'll
never
talk about it.
trust
Just
you.
remember, there's some barren-looking trees around.
We're going to
okay?
Neo's Anonymous after this.
No. Okay. Anyway.
They tried to make me go to Neo's Anonymous, and I said no.
Are you okay?
That's a joke. Anyways.
Okay. You have to back up a little, Hunter.
Oh,
Your
I'm
chin's
sorry.
getting into the fight.
I'm invested. I'm really invested,
man.
and I'm
Okay.
moving closer.
Neo's the tree copium? No, it's not about that. It's not
the
about
first time
that.
you've made a comment and it
No,
wasn't
it's
Neo,
not
but-
about that. It's about something else. We'll talk about it later. Yeah, so was there anything after that? Oh no. So Yang says, oh, there it is. So what's the strategy? Just start roughing them up, and I'm like, yeah, Yang, Alex was mean, wasn't she? It's just so funny.
We choose violence. I also like that Little's kind of like Pikachu.
Yeah, I like that too.
On Ruby's shoulder. I kind of want. I predicted that Little dies, but I kind of want Little to just be in the show forever.
So, okay, we need to talk about this because, like, I'm very confused. And if somebody was here, I would like to know. I don't get this scene at all, other than this idea that they can't be distracted because they should be paying attention.
Or they're on the job, so you can't be like flirting.
I don't really get what this was.
That's what it was. Like, what's so confusing about it?
Well, it's more like, is it supposed to be flirting and this guy is jealous? Or is this just like a little kid that really admires the soldiers? Like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's random. It's a weird thing to focus on. Or is it more just like,
it's just a quick
we let them work? I know, but it can't be funny if I don't know what's going on. It's cute.
You're just weird and autistic and you don't understand social interaction.
Maybe, I guess, but like, you don't just hug random people that you don't know. But yeah, if
unless
anybody has an idea.
I don't know. Isn't that how you flirt with strangers? Just playing on their leg?
But,
is that why I'm single? Is this why that isn't working out for me?
So, Blake says in the book, Alex had to barter with Jinxy for her dagger. And then Yang says, yeah, I think I'd rather just hit him. And I'm like, okay, Yang, Alex was mean. Anyway.
And Yang is violent.
Oh, man. Like the guards on Parliament, Ottawa, I think they're just being distracted. It's a kid coming up. Yeah, that's what I thought, too. Like, it was just some kid or something. I don't know. There was brief Neo color scheme copium, but yeah, I was more asking because I feel like it's like a little kid or something. I like
how
sure.
the two little windows on the top kind of look like little ears.
Little eyes almost.
Or ears, I was getting.
I'm kind of getting like eye, and then this is like a frog, and then this is, I don't know. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I do like this. I thought that this was cool. And so welcome one and all. And then we have a little scene with Weiss right here where Weiss thinks that he's, like, cute. And then Blake also says, he's a lot older than what I remember from the book. So there's kind of this idea that maybe time has passed, right? And so I think that that's interesting.
Which implies that Alex might be older, too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if she stayed here. Or a rabbit.
Depending on who you ask.
And yeah, so these are the finest treasures of the acre. And all we see are, again, a couple things, right? The doll, the rabbit, and then also what we think is Yang's arm. All of Jinxie's treasures are just other items in disguise. So people think they're buying something extremely valuable. And I thought that was kind of funny because, like, Neo does that in the book. But
it does, yeah. She turns
that, yeah. And so I was just thinking about that. Yang was mean. Alex is mean. Yang is Yang. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, I see. So what I wondered was originally, when we first saw this scene, was like, I wonder if because Jinxie already came to the Mouse Town, if it's possible, like if Neo is on the same path, I wonder if she's gotten her weapon back from Jinxie already. Like, you know what I mean? Or something like that has happened because we know that, like, Little said that Jinxie comes to their town. So I wonder if, like, Jinxie could have been there earlier in, like, the day or whatever with Neo's parasol and then maybe even possibly Ruby's scythe and maybe could have taken it. But obviously, like, we haven't seen Neo, so there's not really any indication of what we're doing. But I wonder if they mentioned the fact that Jinxie, like, visits the Mouse Town just to justify how, like, Little knows. or if that could be important for later, because maybe Neo was like, yeah, I'll take this while I'm here so RWBY can't fight me if I see her. You know what I mean? Because it washes up on the beach in the OP, which could mean nothing, or it could mean that somebody gets it. Like, somebody takes it, because it's just chilling there.
Imagine Jinxie trying to carry around giant crescent rose.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, it folded up, right?
I guess so.
How I'm picturing this is that Neo folds up Crescent Rose and puts it, like, on her back, and then just carries her umbrella around. I don't know if we see her umbrella in the scene in the OP, but, like, the OP is also not meant to be taken so literally, so I don't know. But yeah, and so I wondered if maybe, if, again, Neo's on the same path and is ahead, could have gotten her umbrella and Crescent Rose while we were here. And then he took Yang's arm because Yang was in the forest after he had visited the mice people, because he was in the jungle. We don't know, right? We just don't know. And so, yeah, I like how Blake says, what does your heart tell you? That's how Alex did. And then Yang's like, well, that one's arm size. And it's like, that's not what she was asking. She was asking what your heart tells you.
But like, it's funny, they're applying logic to this illogical situation.
It's not even that, but it's like, I feel like that Blake wants Yang to feel feelings, and Yang says no. Like, Yang's just like,
you
no.
Can't catch me, gay thoughts. And so she...
Exactly, and I think that that's funny, because it's like, I don't know, it's like Blake wants Yang to participate in the story as the story, like, you know what I mean? Because I think Blake may also see fairy tales as something romantic in that sense, right? So she wants Yang to, like, kind of buy in, or, like, play along, right? Play along with the story. What does your heart feel? And Yang's like, no. And you see that Blake is, like, visibly disappointed, right? That Yang's not playing along, so I feel like that'll be important later. It's a Blake's just like, why can't you feel your feelings? I don't know. It reminds me, I was writing something in the fanfic where...
Yeah, aren't we always?
Fox and Neo have, like, a fuck, marry, kill situation where they ask that, and Fox is like, I would marry Weiss for her money, which is a valid answer, but it's like, but that's not the point of the game, you know what I mean? So I feel like this is kind of a, that's not the point, Yang, not that it looks long enough to be your art, what does your heart tell you? And so I kind of like that. I like that, like, flirting trope thingy, I don't know what you would call it, right? But yeah, but RWBY's heart is immediately called, this was so dirty, by the way, the Jade Marionette. That's what Jinxie calls it.
Oh, because
Penny
is Pinocchio.
Yeah, and so I was like, well,
I didn't put two and together.
Up,
oh, that's
Jinxie.
upsetting.
All right, so I kind of have a feeling that Jinxie doesn't have a lot of control of what it looks like.
Yes.
That it may, he like sprinkles his little pixie dust on it and it becomes something representative of, like, the object. And so the staff could be, the scepter could sort of be, I don't know, Yang's ruling personality. Like, I don't know.
The fact that she's our queen.
Yeah, something. Oh, man. Anyway. So, yeah, I do like this scene. Like, okay, so this is a diamond-studded rabbit, which is weird because it's actually a mouse. Which I thought was funny.
Yeah,
but
that is funny.
So, this is, like, there are copies of the same characters, which makes sense because they're just board game pieces, right? But yeah, and so the little girl person that was hugging, there's two of her, which, I mean, when Neo was disguised as the waitress, and we said that, I think you said that, people were sort of like, Hunter, then no. But then it was, right? So I want to cover all our bases and be like...
Because Neo's about that height, you know?
Yeah, she is, though! Oh, man. Anyway. So, yeah. And so I love this. They say Jinxies because they both say you at the same time. I thought that was really cute. And so, yeah. So the price is a hug for this guy. But for Alex, how are we going to bid without any money? There's no money. Jinxie just names whatever price he wants. What did Jinxie want from Alex? Her saddest memory and her happiest, which I think is interesting because I said that in regards to, like, that's what everyone's going to face this volume, like their greatest fear and, like, their, you know, most euphoric, beautiful dream. And so I'm like, are we getting there? I don't know. But yeah, I wonder if, like, we'll ever get that because, you know, we think that Alex has a companion or a brother or something, and maybe something to do with that person could be the saddest. Okay. But yes, and so maybe this won't be so bad after all, right? But then it is. And so then Jinxie says, after the hug. Oh, wait. Well, first Little says, hugs are very valuable. And then you see that Little actually goes and hugs Ruby's hair, which I just think is the cutest thing ever because, like, Little just exists to want to make Ruby happy. And I think that that's so interesting, right? Like,
I love Little so
trying to
much.
make Ruby feel
Why
better.
can't I have a Little in my life?
You could. Just do some research about a mouse.
But I want, like, a little
You want a talking mouse? Oh, well, I can't do anything.
I just want someone who's like...
we didn't gloss over calling Jinxy old. We did talk about that. Like, we talked about the fact that maybe time passed since the original
and
fairy
so Alex
tale.
could be older. You know.
We do know Alex lied about the memories because she didn't want to share them. Who said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I transcribed this whole thing. I don't know. Do we know? Do we know that?
I'm not sure.
Maybe this person's just interpreting. We know they lied.
Things differently.
But yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't hear that.
I don't think it was there. I don't think it was there.
Or maybe they meant to say, "Do we know?"
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll fact check that later. But yeah, I think that. I don't know, it would be in character if Alex lied, but I feel like that you can't lie your way out of this because Yang doesn't seem to be able to. Because the price is knowing what it feels like to love. Oh, at the beginning of Yang, okay, so Yang says that Alex lies and cheats throughout the entire book. Oh, so you guys just think that she lied, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, maybe she didn't, maybe she was fine sharing that, would it really matter, right? And so, yeah, so... I like this. Knowing what it is to feel love. And I'm like, but Yang, people do love you, right? So she looks so shocked by that. But it's like, does she just not want to admit it? Like, she looks back at her teammates. But I don't know, it's a very interesting scene, right? Because, I don't know, because Yang has felt love, right?
Yeah.
And so... I think people
maybe
are
it's like, but
misinterpreting
maybe she thinks people think like, oh, you're loved unconditionally by your parents, and then she's thinking about Raven, and then
so
that's my interpretation.
So maybe she was gonna bring up her parents, but her parents don't love her unconditionally.
Well, Tai Yang's pretty good, but Raven's not great.
It isn't saying that Yang doesn't know what it's like to be loved. It's that she doesn't want to give it up. Oh, like she doesn't want to trade it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. She doesn't want to consider giving up what it's like to be loved. But I didn't think that was so literal. I thought
like
that it was...
never have that
I thought it was like that Jinxy just wanted to know, like to have a description. So I think that's an interesting thing that you guys are saying, though. You think it would be giving it up permanently.
Which I guess is an interpretation of it.
Yeah, but I thought that Jinxy meant that he just wanted to know what Yang feels like when she is loved versus giving
because all the other person
love.
Needed was a hug, which is a very, very different ask.
So I don't know. I guess both interpretations are valid. I know it's a trade, but I thought that the trade was more like a description compared to... Because... She doesn't, like, does Alex need to give up her saddest memory and her happiest, as in literally forget both of those things? Or is it just that she had to explain it? Because I sort of thought to explain it. I don't think it's permanent because he did have to return the hug, but Jinxy had to return the hug because the trade wasn't, like, because the item needed to be returned. So, yeah, I mean, I guess both make sense. I saw it as a description of the thing, not as the literal giving up. Like, Alex would have memory loss after that. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know. So, I guess we don't know. But yeah. And that's it. We just don't know. And so, yeah, so
whatever
they just...
Jinxy wants.
They just do that, I guess.
I love how bad his handwriting is.
Aaron tweeted that they think it's the very literal deal. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Yeah,
Which
this
I
is
wouldn't give
fey
that up
bargaining.
either.
The hug was given, you can give multiple hugs. Yeah, that's a weird thing, though. He just wanted one single hug, and then from them, they want, like, you'll never feel love again. So, yeah, that would be fucked up if that's, like, kind of how the trading system is. But, like, I would have said, how do you describe what love feels like in an option? I don't know. I would say that love feels like when other people want to see you be happy, even if sometimes you're a little difficult.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Like, if somebody asked me, I would say that, maybe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the people in your life still want you to be happy, even when maybe you don't deserve it in that moment, right? Maybe they still give you that grace. That's what I would say. As opposed to people that don't love you, they won't care if you're being difficult. Well, now we know that the king will never be loved again. Yeah, see, that's interesting then, because the king just gave up whatever Jinxy wanted, and so, but he didn't get the item, and the item was fake. So I'm pretty sure that doesn't stand to exist now. You know what I mean? Because the item was fake, so we had to give it back. Anyway. And so, yeah, I love that. Like, Yang's like, wait, that's my art. Whatever it is, it's royal property now. No price is too high for His Majesty's birthday. And so then they talk about the Jade Marionette, right? And I love Yang's eye color change. That's
also
always
like how,
fun.
God, Blake is so kitty this episode.
I know, they made her so kitty.
I love her so much.
See, look at these Neo copies. Everywhere, little Neos everywhere. I thought the guard gave it up. Maybe the guard gave it up for the sake of the king. But Cal, what if you describe that and you can never happen again? I don't know, okay? I don't know.
Then people are just not gonna put up with my shit anymore.
Did Alex have the memory loss then? Did Alex literally, but maybe that's how Alex lost herself. She forgot, because our memories make us who we are.
That's sensible.
I think it would be funny if we do see this, that Jinxie's like ask Neo to give up her voice or something she already doesn't have, as a reference to the man who stared at the sun, like the version of the story where the farmer was already blind from the beginning and made the deal. I think that'd be kind of funny. But yeah, I like Yang's eye color change. I thought that was cute. Guys, we already know that semblances worked because Neo turns into Ruby in the trailer. But you're right. But we knew that already. So yeah, this is so dirty, the fact that they made Penny like this doll. And so yeah, I love the scene composition of this, right? Also, Yang says, oh, wait, that's Yang, hold on. Yang says, oh, we tried it your way, Blake. Right? And so now she wants to fight. And so the bidding starts at enough hope to fill this jar, right? And so the hope used to be Penny. And then it's like, oh, but you don't have enough, do you, right? So she doesn't even have enough hope.
Sad.
Which is sad.
Which
but then,
is dark.
right?
Oh, but then our sneaky boy
appears in the jar. No, but I think that's symbolic. Like, Penny was what gave her hope, but now Little can give her hope. And
I like
Little
that a lot.
just does thievery. And I love
Be
this.
small. Do crimes. I love Little so much.
Yeah, and so you can't touch it till the deal is done, and then everything, like, poofs back into, you know, what it actually is, which I thought that was really cool. So that also means that, like, the characters here have magic. Like, they may not have semblances, per se, but
they have
this
some
is
kind of
Jinxie's
magic.
only power as far as we are aware, right? So, yeah. Do you think Alex is stuck in an endless loop, or is a silhouette of her representing how Team RWBY's just following her? I think that it's representing how Team RWBY's following her.
Sense,
I think that Alex is the rabbit and lost her sense of self, but we'll talk about that later on this week. Right? And so I love how, like, Little steals it. Like, I just love that. I thought that was so, like...
Little thief.
I know. And so I'm just like, see, stealing is okay sometimes. Right? And I love this. Like, it's the gag of, like, oh, yeah, like, they did take something from Little's village that no one was keeping an eye on, I guess, which was this rat. And this rat looks equally confused, so I wonder if they're, like, in stasis or something. You
or
know
maybe
what
it was
I mean?
just so focused on eating the cheese.
It wasn't aware, because I did write a note about that. And so they're like, it's a fake, right? And I love this scene. I love how he screams and then he throws the arm. Yeah, so I'm sure that, like...
I love the contrast of, like, this whole episode, Weiss is totally unbothered.
I know.
She's just girl bossing her way. and Blake is just a ball of anxiety, and Yang just wants to fight someone, and Ruby's depressed. Like, I just love how chaotic our girls are.
And I love, too, like, Blake's so worried that she's fucking up the story. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love how, like...
Do you think that could be some kind of message of, like, you write your own story?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Also, you missed where Yang pulls and then shoots the guy right in his
we
fucking
saw that
chest.
in the trailer, right? So
I know, but,
yeah, Little's like...
Here you go! Oh, Little.
And, like, Ruby starts to cry, and I thought that was so, like, subtle. Like, you see, like, the tears
Why are you
in
crying?
her eyes.
Did you want the doll? It's okay, friend.
Oh, and see, Little's like, all Little wants to do is make them happy. I don't think we're ever gonna find Crescent Rose. They said Alex found a way home, but they also said the girl in the tower lived happily ever after. So, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
look at that.
True.
She's just there and then
I got an arm.
It's so funny. But oh man, and then Blake's just like, Ruby, like, we gotta run, and Weiss is just like, there's no reason. Like, there's just no reason to run. Oh, man.
This is my favorite part, where he's just so upset.
He has to give the hug
and he
back,
still has
right?
the mouse there, and he has to give the hug back.
I know, and I love that. See, so I don't think that anything that they paid is, like you know, has been taken now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that the king will never be loved by anyone again, or something, like, because it was all... I wonder if he has the ability to read people's inner feelings. Probably, to some degree, I would say. Or maybe he can just read people well, because he is kind of like a con man.
Yes.
So it may not even necessarily be through powers, but it may just be like, if you guys have ever watched The Mentalist, like, he pretends to be a fake psychic, but he's just really good at reading people. You know?
I like this. I love that how you're just whipping out, like, Star Trek and The Mentalist. Like, you're throwing out different.
I'm just saying, it's not just Kingdom Hearts and
Kingdom
Spider
Hearts
Riders.
And Spider Riders and Disney shit anymore.
Oh man,
you know?
but yeah,
you're expanding your horizons.
But something like The Mentalist, where it's like, it can tell, like, he can just tell, it's kind of, you know, by how people talk and whatever, right? And so, yeah, I like this high five. Like, she offers a high five to them, and they don't take it.
Also, Barbara's so great, and that, like, her voice is so, like,
I love Yang. Yang is so good.
But I can just imagine Barbara saying that.
Yeah.
Like, the face she's making.
And so Blake says, we're doing the same thing Alex did. We're ruining everything. But they haven't ruined anything, though. And so I think that, like, Yang is... I feel like Blake's a little paranoid. She doesn't want it. Because she says, I've read so many stories, but I never thought I'd be the moral of one, right? She wants to be a good, upstanding citizen. She does not want to fuck up the fairy tale, right? But, like, they didn't do anything wrong. They just exposed Jinxy for being a fraud. So I don't think anybody's going to be after them specifically. I mean, the guards are, but they've resolved that. So I think it's okay, kind of. I think it's kind of okay now, right? Because Ruby resolves it. So Ruby's kind of going against Alex's path in a way. So they're not taken as prisoners anymore. Instead, they're just taken, right? And so, yeah, I love the scene with Blake about, like, you know, being the moral and everything. But Ruby says that, I couldn't explain why, but I was drawn to it. And then it starts raining just on them. Which I think is interesting, right? And so, you know, when
I'd love
Weiss
it if
cries,
they panned up and there's just a little cloud hanging over them.
Yeah. When Weiss cries, it doesn't rain. But when Ruby cries, it does. And so somebody said that maybe it's because Weiss wasn't really crying because she was sad, but more because she was overwhelmed.
Maybe.
And so if we do see another character be sad...
I don't know. Right? I still think it's like Ruby has a special place
here. But the weird thing is that the guards say... This way, somebody's sad, which implies that they know that when people are sad, it rains.
I guess so.
So that's the weird thing about that piece of dialogue.
Maybe.
If it was just Ruby, they wouldn't know that.
I could see that.
Unless it's just sort of fuckity-wuckity, right? They just happen to know. Sure. Blake has residual white fang guilt? Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, and so they talk about raining on just them, and Weiss is like, we're getting out of here. And I like this scene with Weiss just because... You know, like, I don't think it's gonna work like that. We are not in the book, and even if we were, the tree's right there. So I think that the reason why Weiss gets caught in a loop is because the island does know your intention. It's not because, like, they're all gonna have a secular scene. It's more just because if you want to go to the tree,
I love how, like, previously, like, Weiss was, like, marching, and she has
Yeah.
this very grumpy march, and she throws the
This
rock.
is
Oh my
so
god.
funny. I
Look at
love
this
that.
mirror frame.
And like Ruby just crying in the background, and I think that's very
Weiss
funny.
is so silly, and I just love her so much, and she's perfect, oh my god, look at my bambino. I love
And so
him.
he says, yeah, I already tried that earlier. You can't get any closer to the tree that way, right? And so, yeah, Weiss does her a whole little, and now we're stuck in this stupid world. And we have no clue how to, like, she just
Weiss
keeps
is
going.
so relatable, is just so sick of everyone's shit, and is just ranting to herself. She has never been more relatable as a character.
I know, and I
than
like
she is
Yang's
right now.
dialogue here. And yeah, this way, somebody's sad, right? So, like, they know that when someone's sad, it rains, or, like, how much do they know? Like, I know it's just a story, but I genuinely do think if any of the girls were upset on their own behalf, something would happen, that it's not just gonna be Ruby. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. It looks like it's focusing on
Right
Ruby.
now, it's just Ruby, but no one else has been sad yet,
I
other
don't
than
know.
Weiss, and people have made a case for Weiss not really being sad as much as she just...
Maybe
Sometimes
it's
you
like-
just have liquid
yeah.
coming out of your eyes, you know what I mean?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, it didn't rain earlier when Ruby first got the sword, and she was tearing up a little.
Yeah,
But maybe that
maybe it
wasn't
didn't
sadness.
have enough time.
Maybe it was just like tears of happiness. Like
Yeah.
it reminded her of her friend that she cared about.
Exactly, and so I like this, like, oh, like the huzzah, right? Like, you know, and so she's like, okay, like...
That's what kind, and then they're afraid,
back
they
away.
flinch. I also like that they have little horsies that they're riding on that are just sticks and they're walking.
And yeah, we talk about beating the Red King at his own game right there. And so I like this. Like, Ruby's like, we want to go to the birthday party. And then she says it again, but she says it more, like, commanding. So, like, she's kind of taking her leadership. So I like this, right? Because she's actually fixing the story. I'm assuming that Alex was taken there as a prisoner, but now Ruby is being taken there kind of as a guest,
Yes.
hopefully. Right? Because she's offering, like, let us present this
But she is
gift.
cheating off of someone else's test, kind of, you know? She knows
Yeah.
what to expect, which is a benefit she has.
Yeah. And so I think that, I think that they're meant to follow the story, and if they loop trying to go to the tree, well, yeah, I guess I understand what you guys mean. If they tried to go back to Little's house, maybe it wouldn't let them, but we don't know that yet. So it's either that they have to, like, they couldn't go back to Little if they wanted to, like, back to the mice hunters, or it's just the tree in general. But yeah, I like this, that Ruby's like, Blake wants to be good, and Ruby is trying to, like, invent her own way, sort of stray from Alex's story, and because she has something now that makes her, or will set her apart from Alex, that they can write their own story, that they don't need to follow Alex's path exactly, because now they have, like, they're thinking of their own solutions. They don't need to be exactly like her.
Yes.
And I like that sort of metaphor in that. And this scene was so emotional, the weapon of a powerful warrior, not just a powerful warrior, the most powerful to ever live. She was touched by magic and gave her life to for thousands. She took a message of hope to the stars, and she saw the world through better eyes. And so I feel like that's like better eyes as in literally, because we see Penny's robot vision, but also just metaphorically. And like Ruby doesn't see...
Gal's got good eyes, though.
You know, she could see the way the world could be, like a little Orpheus, Hades Town sprinklage in there.
You see, that's a reference that I expect you to make, not the mentalist in Star Trek.
Oh, man. And so I really liked this. Take us to the royal birthday and allow us to present this most precious gift, right? And so they're kind of changing the story. Ruby's not cheating. She is bringing something genuinely valuable to the king. And so I like this, and I like how, like, emotional the guards get, and so it's kind of like that simple, more honest soul thing again.
It was.
They don't
yeah,
need...
she really was the simple, more honest soul. Also, like, that was a sad scene, because, like, I'm still not over Penny
It was
croaking.
kind of like a eulogy for Penny,
Yeah.
too. Like, the
I like
chat
how
saying,
one of two of them are
acknowledging.
crying and hugging, the other one's, like, consoling his...
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a kind of eulogy for Penny that we never got,
And,
which
like,
was nice.
I know that Ruby's angsty, but maybe that this is also her stepping back into her leadership role and trying to overcome the angst in a way, right?
Part of me does want to see her fight with Penny's sword, because she did that in Volume 3 after Penny died the first time.
Yeah, that's true. She may, I mean, if things go wrong at the castle area.
Is she still holding it, or did she give it to them?
She gave it to them.
Okay.
Look,
Well, I
we
hope
may
she
not
gets it
know.
back.
I mean, there's more. That's not the only one.
I guess that is true,
So-
but did anyone else grab the other ones?
Well, there may be other ones just...
That's true, sprinkled about.
We know that Ruby gets the sword back at some point because we see the scene in the trailer where she sees Penny's reflection on the sword. That is true. She may, that may have just been for the sake of the shot, for the trailer, maybe they did that. But that is true, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's that one, just because Penny had multiple anyway. So, but you guys are right. She will eventually see another sword or get the same sword back again.
Maybe she'll be a collector of Penny swords.
Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, Ruby, are you sure about this? And I like this, that Ruby's now taking the leadership role back. Look, we may not know exactly what's going on, but for whatever reason, this place is putting us on a similar path as the book we all read as kids. I say we follow it and stop pretending we know what we're doing. I feel like that's kind of targeted at Weiss. That's like Weiss targeted.
Yeah, of Weiss trying to bring logic to an illogical situation.
And so I think that I think that Ruby believes in Blake's way to do things in a sense.
I also like that Ruby's back on her girl boss.
Yeah, and I like that. I
She's
really like this
again.
scene.
Although they almost look like they're worried about.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're worried because she was a little rude.
I guess so.
So I think that that's probably why they're worried.
Maybe they don't know how to read because she jumped
It
from
feels Blake targeted too. I don't know though, because Blake.
I think they're all a little worried. So.
I don't think that she was shading Blake because Blake did know what she was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right. Blake did know what she was doing.
You know, Blake is trying to make sense of it all, I guess. So maybe Ruby's saying to stop trying to make sense of it, but Blake's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But I guess it is just go along and let's make our own choices instead of remembering what Alex did. That's probably more what it's about than Blake, you're wrong, right? Weiss is wrong, and then with Blake, it's let's not worry about what Alex did. Let's do it ourselves. Okay. So, now that we're at the end of the episode, yeah, so theory time. So this episode didn't really give us a lot in terms of
theories or marking stuff off the bingo.
Theories and stuff, which is fine because we still have videos from last week that we didn't get to yet. However, and I know that this is gonna sound a little Misty Tinkle Woohoo situation.
Misty Tinkle Woohoo?
Yeah, but I think I may be onto something. Okay.
God, okay.
Okay. Let's hold on. Let's hide the script. We don't need it anymore. Still no Jean. Okay. I know this isn't what it looks like in the illustration of the girl in the tower. However, because this is a fairy tale book, I wonder if maybe this is because if it's not just Wonderland and it's the Ever After and has multiple.
I'm sorry, Dar just said it's Misty Tinkle Woohoo a purpose.
Oh my god. Okay. I wonder if maybe this is the girl in the tower. Maybe. Because they could have made this look like anything. They could have made a tower come out of here and a tower come out of there, but they made this look like the tallest possible tower. I don't know, they could have made it zigzag, but instead they made it. I know towers kind of look the same, but they made it kind of suspiciously girl in the tower looking for no reason. And I looked at the scene in the world not the world of Remnant, and when they did the fairy tale book illustrations. And I will admit that the surrounding terrain and the castle itself looks absolutely nothing like the castle in terms of the fairy tale, right? Not Salem, okay? But, the reason why I pointed out that tree earlier was not because it was Neo-shaped, it's because there are those, barren tree-looking things in the, fairy tale thingy, in the illustration. And so I was like, that's kind of a reach, that's kind of a stretch, but I wonder if maybe, though, the tree pieces from earlier that were in town were the trees that were, around the tower, if you go and look at, the fairy tale thingy. And so, it was green for Salem's story, but we know that the actual girl in the tower, like, yeah, it's Salem, but it's also a fairy tale that has been retold in multiple capacities. And so there's not really any reason that here we can't see a different version of the girl in the tower compared to the normal version, right? We know Salem's gonna show up somehow, do we? I thought that was just kind of...
From the trailer. I mean, I guess so,
I thought that was
maybe?
just kind of showing Salem.
Yeah, just to remind you who the big bad is.
Yeah,
you know?
And so I wonder if maybe that could be a thing.
Perhaps.
Like, because, okay, if we're all on different stories, what would be really interesting, and I know, the Calxiyn Queen of reaching and stretching, don't come for me, but there is a point in Roman Holiday where Neo's father says that she's just like the witch in one of her fairy tales, and the fairy tale is the girl in the tower, right? Like, that's the one that Neo relates to most because Neo feels like she is the girl in the tower. So it would kind of be funny if Neo was up there and trapped, and that's how she woke up, and she's not happy about it. Now, would Team RWBY go rescue her from up there? I don't know.
But maybe, like, by the time they're gonna go in there,
by accident.
They're gonna, like, really wreck up shop, and then accidentally they save Neo. Like, that's a possibility.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because we see Neo in the trailer, and she's at a completely different cloudy location. But, like, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility for them to free Neo accidentally. There's kind of a fight in the stair area, but Neo gets away and goes a different path.
No, I mean, yeah, I thought you were going to think that we were going to have this new version of Salem, but the idea that it's Neo who's there, I like that.
Because
Team
RWBY's Alex, right? And then maybe, like, Neo is the girl in the tower.
Was Jean the man who stared at the sun?
I don't know.
Next time we see him, he's just going to be looking up.
I mean, I think Jean's the knight still.
But what night?
Well...
Oh, I mean that night, but like what night in the story? Like what fairy tale is he being absorbed into? I bet you we're going to go to that like Candyland looking place and he's just going to be having a great time.
Jean could be...
getting high blood sugar.
The huntsman that saves the silver-eyed warrior in the book. We know that he makes himself armor. He's not that decked out. There's no way Neo is trapped. She's too smart. But, like, if she woke up trapped...
She'd get out. She wakes up trapped.
She could get out.
She'd get out, though.
She could get out, but, like, just because you're smart doesn't mean you can... You know what I mean?
I think I'm smart. I wouldn't be good if I was kidnapped.
I know what you guys are saying, but, like, I don't think that Neo's intelligence or murder capabilities have any bearing on her staying
murder
trapped
capabilities is a hell of a sentence.
Just because she doesn't have her parasol as far as we know, and so she wouldn't be able to fight. So she would have to at least make a plan. So that's why I'm saying that, like, maybe if Team RWBY didn't come to help her, she could get out eventually, but I'm saying that she's literally in there and she just woke up sort of situation, right? She hasn't had enough time to escape yet. More on Little symbolism. When RWBY unsuccessfully tries to cheer up Weiss, Little takes off her head and takes off her head.
Takes Little off her head.
Right, and holds them in her hands. Yes. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering, I don't know, Girl of the Tower copium, but that would be interesting because, like, okay, not to be that person, but it's episode 2 and we haven't seen Neo or John. And we know, like, usually they take clips from the first 3 episodes when they do the trailers, right? And they took this clip from Neo, and we have no idea where that's from. And so maybe next episode we'll just see her chilling in the clouds, but, like, it'd be kind of funny if, like, she's in there and then she gets away. And then that's kind of, like, how it goes. You know what I mean? Imagine they're just, like, they have some sort of fight with the Red King because, like, the pawns and, like, you know, Team RWBY's all small. And maybe that is why Neo gets away because everybody else is too small and RWBY doesn't have her weapon. They're like, we can't deal with her right now. Like, you know what I mean? Because everyone else has been turned into pawns, right? So maybe what happens is there's little fight, chaos. Maybe they even hear that there's a princess in the tower and Team RWBY's like, maybe
which I do hope we get a good fight scene because I was worried that this would be a fight scene light season volume.
Neo did not have her parasol in her hands. She just pretended she did as she, like, pretended to fall. Because Neo, her parasol got kicked off by Cinder. So when she's falling in that scene where she punches RWBY, she's free-handed. She's just pretending she's floating. She's not actually, like, you know what I mean? She was falling, like, Mary Poppins style, but she had no umbrella. And so, like, yeah, if she had her parasol, she could just descend and get away or something, but I don't think that that's gonna work. So yeah, that'd be kind of funny if, like, they hear there's a princess in the tower and they're like, oh, well, we're the heroes. Maybe we should go rescue the princess or something, like, because they think that they should still be on track, like, with the fairy tale or whatever. Like, oh, did Alex save the princess? I don't remember that. Maybe we could go save the princess, I guess. And then, like, the princess is Neo, but they can't fight her because there's just so much chaos and Team RWBY's all little, and so RWBY gets away and then Neo just leaves. So, like, she's just like, I don't have time. Like, we gotta get away right now. Like, we all have to get away and I'll track them later. Is my thumb okay? I don't know. Why? What's wrong? What's wrong with my hand?
What's wrong with my hand?
I don't know. What's wrong? Is it because I'm doing this? Is it because I'm playing with the ring? Anyway. But yeah, so that's the only theory that I have.
My only theory is that next episode, the whole episode is just going to be them walking around that giant hill trying to get, by the end, it'd be like in the Road to El Dorado. By the time they walk up all the stairs, they're like...
That's funny. I do like that.
I like that. I predict that's going to happen.
But we do see Jean riding on the rabbit, if that's Jean, right? So maybe he'll ride through town next episode?
I really hope Neo comes in so you can cry, so I can knock that off.
I mean, I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't cry just upon seeing her. Like, I wouldn't cry on sight. But, like, I'm thinking
I don't know.
It.
I believe in you.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else. Yeah. I don't think we're even going to have side videos this week beyond
it was a very funny...
what we did already that we haven't posted yet.
Does that mean we'll be able to finish Arrowfell?
When?
By next...
I don't know.
We can't by next
We're
RWBY
not
episode?
doing it today.
Okay.
We're not doing it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay.
But yeah, I think that's basically it, guys. I'm late, clearly, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Well, don't worry. Everything will be archived.
How do you feel about that episode?
I am going to put everything in the chat. But yeah, I guess we'll just talk about, like, the rest of the episode. I thought it was good. I thought it was, like,
less
10 out of 10.
Less action-filled than the last one, because you got that RWBY Neo scene at the beginning and the recap. Yeah. Whereas this was just, like, a lot of, like, little character moments.
It was very good character writing.
Very funny.
That's what I thought.
And like, the world is great. It was really, I loved it so much.
I thought it was very,
very good.
Yeah, it was very endearing. I liked all the character moments. Like I said, this episode made me love Yang, so I'm like 10 out of 10 notes.
It did the impossible. This episode walked on water.
It's only 9 out of 10 because there was no Neo, I guess. But I'll say that after ever. Yeah, 9 out of 10, no Neo. Too much.
And then when Neo shows up, it'll be 9.5 because she currently doesn't have her tongue down Fox's throat.
Well, you know, we can't always get everything we want, but...
But if you try sometimes, you might find you write Neo fanfiction and it's just as good.
Oh, boy. And so, yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you guys had fun. I like the Bumblebee flirting. I really like just Weiss this
Make
chapter.
him kiss.
I like RWBY's angst. There's a lot.
I am waiting. I
wonder if these still work. Like, I genuinely wonder. But
want to let one pop just to find out?
No. But yeah, I like that they're giving the girls a lot of time together. I think that's good. I thought it was a great episode. I really did. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you do want to go see our reaction, I linked it in the chat. But I think that is basically going to be it from us for today. So I hope that you guys had fun. Bit of a shorter stream than usual. Can you believe it? And